We are joined right now by analyst Barton Crockett. He is from Lazard Capital Management. He joins me right here in the studio. Barton, glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
So you say the most interesting thing this weekend is the Toy Story story. Why is that?
Well, I think it's interesting because it suggests that there's an opportunity for studios to re-release classic movies from previous years in 3D and generate good box office. I mean, this weekend we had the #2 and the #3 movies both in 3D. Cloudy was 3D, Toy Story was in 3D. Because of those two movies, the box office was actually flat for the top 12 movies year over year, which was an accomplishment on what was an otherwise kind of weak slate. So I think technology gives us an opportunity to get more of the good content back and get people interested to see it in 3D, which I think is good for the theater stocks, which I cover both Cinemark with a buy and Regal with a hold.
Okay, because it's true that with the advent of Netflix, being able to download even anything from your computer, I mean, less people are going to theaters, were they not then in years past?
Well, actually, the box office and movie attendance has been good through the recession. I mean, this, like past recessions, has proved to be an escape, and it's proved to be relatively defensive. Over the longer term, box office attendance has been flat. Population growth is up 1%, so a little bit of a laggard. Pricing makes it a mature industry, but technology, I think, allows a mature industry now to become a little bit more interesting with 3D upcharges, more content possibilities. Not only movies in 3D, but you think about other applications.
I've heard of sports events.
Yes.
I've heard of sort of live gaming events in theaters.
Yes, and so what's happening is that the theaters are changing to a new technology platform. This digital projector is basically a computer, and you can do anything on that you can do on your computer, and that's kind of open a whole host of opportunities that have just not been in this business to date.
Talk to us a little bit about movie studios. I know you cover DreamWorks. You also have Marvel, and of course that's in an M&A mix right now. I mean, what does the future of this space look like?
Okay. Well, I think in terms of consolidation, the action that you're seeing with Disney buying Marvel, or proposing to buy Marvel, and a lot of talk around other companies in the area, NBC, Universal, it just highlights that a hedge as distribution platforms change is good content. I mean, good content, people will buy it across any distribution platform, and what I think that highlights is that if you can master the trick of making good movies, you're a valuable asset, and that's one of the reasons that I have a buy on DreamWorks right now.
What else do you see coming? What else do you see dictating what this space looks like a year from now?
Well, I think what will happen is that home video over the next year, over the next 5 years, is going to go through substantial change. One of the reasons I like the theaters is that you're somewhat immune to that because they're an out-of-home experience and people have a basic need to get out of the home. But in the home, internet distribution has kind of changed the way you get movies. It's kind of changed the way you get TV shows. And I think that's a fundamental challenge for a lot of companies in the distribution business. And for people in the content business, if you make good content, people will buy it however it's distributed. And I think those companies are somewhat insulated from these changes, which is why I think you're seeing those companies come up in a lot of the M&A consideration that's out there right now.
All right, and can you give us any, even though you don't cover it, anything that you think could develop for NBC Universal?
Okay, well, I don't want to go too far down that road because, I don't cover GE, and right now I'm not covering Comcast, but, I think clearly there's a process there. Vivendi has the right to require GE to either buy it or to force an IPO. They have a need for cash if you look at what they've been saying publicly. So it looks like there's a very good chance that something will happen there. I think we have to wait and see whether Comcast ends up being the buyer, but clearly, that's an interesting story right now.
Barton, thank you so much.